All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing One Ring Second Edition tonight. We are continuing our Waking of Angmar campaign. We were talking before the stream about how no one really likes Steven anymore. And this
I think it was a little bit the other way around.
No, I feel like Steven was talking a lot of trash, but he didn't realize I had my Bluetooth headphones on, so I heard everything he said.
I knew you had your headphones in. That's why I said it.
There they are, right there.
It's a beautiful moment when you have your headphones in and walk away from the microphone. I get to say whatever I want with no comeback.
Oh, I just
delayed.
I think there'll be a comeback. Oh, what's that? 50 orcs coming at you? Whoops, whoopsie.
Yeah.
Whoopsie. Oh, that's a shame.
They're only focusing Erebon? What?
That's so strange.
What did you do?
Like, the rest of you can go. Yeah.
I'm gonna roll a dice, see who I hit.
Just
comes up
want
with a 3
elf
Erebon.
flesh. Yeah. Yeah.
Comes up with a 2. Erebon.
Randomly target. Let me just roll a D12 and or D4, and on a 4, I'll attack Erebon. Oh, look, it's a 4. Oh,
It's
look
a
at
4. Oh no, never mind.
You just rolled a 4.
I just wrote 4. just leave us the elf. The rest of you can go. unless you're hungry too, and then you can join. And just the tenor of the campaign just radically changes. All right. So anyway, let's get started. We were in the middle of a journey last time, so we're gonna pick up on that. I think Long tried to kill the rest of the party, or is planning to, so that's gonna be fun. But why don't we just do quick introductions here? Just tell us who you are, who you're playing, etc., etc. We'll make it fast. Long, who is Floy? Who is Floy? Really? Let's get into
Yes, Floy. I am a treasure hunter. My strengths are, my strength, and I like treasure. A flaw I like, or not like, but a flaw I have is I like treasure too much.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a flaw for a treasure
According
hunter?
to those game rules, yeah, it is a flaw.
Oh man, Long's like, screw these game rules. Who wrote this stuff? Who wrote this world? I don't know. Okay, all right, fair enough. Next, we've got your biographer. We've got Gilly Kellygrass. Gilly, what's this chapter going to look like in the story of Floy?
So far, this chapter is very depressing. He's very depressive about me, and he only cares about treasure now, and he doesn't care about our friends, and he pushed Erennial. Mm-hmm. He might not have ever, but who knows? But yeah, no, actually, it's a pretty dark chapter. And that's Gilly. She's our biographer.
Okay, all right, fair enough. And did you, in fact, take the shadow point that you were supposed to take that Melissa called you out upon? I heard that too. Melissa just calling Ashley out. Floyd took shadow, so you should probably take some too. Okay. All right.
One of the random thoughts I had this morning thinking about the game. Like,
I am so far sitting at I'm sitting at 9 out of 14.
We've learned that either Melissa or Erennial, maybe both, are narcs, man. So, Melissa, tell us about your narc of a character.
Up at 9 a.m. ready to snitch on us.
Just got a list. Oh, goodness. I think Floyd had too many dice in that roll.
Floyd did push Erennial, and Erennial pushed him back. And this is going to be a thing now with Floy. But Erennial is our ranger champion. Not too bad of a shadow at the moment, but I was speaking of nonsense that we were talking before stream. I pointed out apparently like 3 too many times last session that in the last fellowship phase I picked up endurance of the ranger, which means that I don't accrue fatigue.
You don't accrue fatigue? That's amazing. I didn't know that. Wow.
It's kind of like that's really leg cool thing where it's
ow, it hurts.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Fair enough. You don't take fatigue. That's fine. That's fine. That's great. Who do we think would actually win in a fight between Floy and Erennial?
Oh, me for sure. There's not even a
I think so too. I
He
think so
hits like
too.
a truck.
He does. He
It
really
depends on how much treasure he's holding, though.
That is.
You know, Erennial doesn't take fatigue.
That's true. Well,
No,
only
just while
during
travel,
journeys.
right? Oh, yeah.
But Aurelial also, can, kind of like high step away and shoot with bows. So there's always that option too. So if she can keep Floy at a distance, maybe she'll have a chance.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, arrows
Dwarves
don't
are
affect
natural splinters. Arrows don't
They-
affect you. Yeah. What is What is your to hit, Floy? Like, what does somebody have to roll to get to actually damage you?
Oh, is there a number for that? Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 15. It looks like pretty easy.
And
to hit.
what's yours, Aurelial?
16?
Oh man, this is gonna be bloody. There's gonna be a bloodbath between the two of you. That's easy for both of you. Yeah, your parry rating. That's what I was trying to say. I was like, what's that number? It has a word. What's it called?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think that's it, right? Well, hello there, Arabon.
Should we bother with introductions? I'm just going to die this session.
Yeah, I guess we should.
Which
I guess we should.
which My Chemical Romance song is he listening to today?
Probably Helena. He's going for the really
Appropriate.
sad.
Okay.
I'm playing Erebon, Child of Eru, Exile of Linden, Warden of Eriador. I need more titles, but I haven't taken the time to think them up. I'm an elf from Linden, playing a warden. I carry a great spear. It's 1.5 times my length, and I'm very good with it, and no one could ever kill me.
So many things. First of all, the titles. Does Erebon come up with those? Because I feel like you've been a loner for like most of your life and a coward, and you've fled, and so like I don't understand where these titles are coming from.
I would say that they were bestowed upon him the day he left. Exile of Linden is really the only title. Warden of Eriador is more of a job occupation.
Okay, sure.
And Child of Eru, he was born to that.
Okay. All right. Fair. I guess fair enough. And then good at the spear. Huh.
Super good at spears. Yeah. I spear all day long.
Good at spears. Okay. All right. So
I've got a crazy resume.
you're just padding the crap out of it is what you're doing. Like for the past 1,000 years, I've wandered, protecting Eriador. Yeah, I'm a warden of Eriador. That's what it is. I'm protecting it all. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, look at how safe it's been the past 1,000 years. That's
Do you have
because
any
of me.
references for any of the things you've done? Well, most of them have died because, like I said, it's been 1,000 years. So, okay, all right.
Then the whole exile part kind of hinders the references.
He totally didn't have me forge him documents for this.
I really can't wait to do an elf adventure where it's like an elf, like the story itself, like how we're going to the doors now. Like I want to do the one with the elf where like Erebon just I can just speak down to him for like a good 5-6 weeks. Like that's it. Like every sesh.
That's why I pushed to go to the dwarves instead of the elves. I figured we should avoid that kind of adventure.
Let's see. 2D4 RPG. Thank you very much for the raid. Good timing. We are just getting started. Frog scanner. That's good. We're playing some One Ring, and we're about to get started. So, let's see. Summary from last time. What did we do last time? You all tried to help out Mendir, that savagely wounded and poisoned elf that had come into the village of Eskerdale. Errol guided you through the forest, and kind of along the way, there was that weird kind of grouping of bears that were kind of following you for a bit. There was the odd lights that were flickering above Fornostal Rain in the far distance. There was the sight of those fleeing ghostly spirits from the fields of slaughter, and you all kind of freaked out about that too. You found a clearing with an uprooted tree. That's where you discovered dead bodies, but they were armored in this very unfamiliar manner. Like you weren't entirely sure. Like none of you had really clear recognition of their adornment. You found a short blade that seemed to like wither the ground, like an actual patch of flower blossoms just withered before your very eyes when it just merely came in contact with it. Floy got angry as he had a bout of madness while he was trying to loot some of these corpses. He grew angry, short-tempered, started lashing out at his friends. There's a scuffle between Floy and Eryniel, and he wanted to take the blade. Eryniel wouldn't let him, and then I think a tackle or something happened. Eventually, they found Floy wandering aimlessly in the wrong direction. You made it back to Eskerdale, and you all decided that you were going to head to the Blue Mountains, to the Arid Luin. You're going to go to the Halls of the Dwarves to try to see if you can get some more information about whatever is going on with Floyd, because he's been suffering some kind of curse. You think it's connected somehow to the armor that he is wearing, and so you're going to head there because it seems to be some kind of material or some sort of something that goes back a lot further than modern history. A couple of the Eskerdalians agreed to take Mendir to the Grey Havens to try to see if there's anything her people, the Elvish people, can actually do for her. So you traveled a bit. We journeyed halfway through. We went over the hills of Evendim. A couple storms hit. Some goblins I think we found by a riverbank. It weren't much of an issue. There was a collapsing cabin that nearly buried Erebon. I think you found a little treasure of that too. Some old carving tools. But eventually you crossed the river Loon. The other party with the elf, they departed, headed south in a boat down the river, whereas you all turned westward to the setting sun over the setting sun over the Blue Mountains, and that's where we're picking up. And I'm going to need a travel roll from old Floy, as we are picking up right in the middle. So yeah, we are right on the western bank of the Loon.
That's a failure.
That's a great. That's a really good start. Get some music going here.
Oh no.
Well, understand. I mean, mechanically, the travel roll just sort of dictates the frequency with which events transpire. All right. I didn't realize long was going to be so quick to roll. Usually, there's like a minute or two, as you guys remember. Like, what button do I press?
Let's pull up that company sheet. Where do we get that from?
Okay. And don't forget that we also have access to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pulling up the company sheet. And we also have some
log.
D6s left over in case anybody needs any.
Like fig poop. Sorry, I'm reading some of these names. Oh, it's good stuff. I like a good silly name. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try to roll from the sheet for the first time and see how this goes, because like the new travel sheet's up. All right, so that means it's going to happen there. Cool. I wish I could show you this, but it's it's stuff going on. All right, I need our hunter. I need Eryniel to go ahead and make her hunt roll. As you all you leave the western shores, the western bank, I should say, of the River Loon. There's the western side of the river is a fairly it's decently dense forest, and travel through it isn't so difficult, but there are storms that are constantly sweeping through at this time of year. As remember, we're in kind of late spring, and so these storms are ratcheting through, which causing a little bit of slowdown. And you find yourselves frequently like keeping camp up longer than you intend, breaking camp a little sooner than you intended, simply because you found a decent spot that had some shelter. In the morning, you can see that some of your stuff is like scattered about here and there, as if the wind or the rain kind of took it. More than once, you have to go through your various supplies and kind of dry it out, have fire going, and kind of dry your clothes and some of your other bits and pieces. As you are, as you're traveling, as you're kind of out, Eryniel, one evening after camp, trying to chase down some sort of game for the party, you notice you think you're tracking something. You think you have some kind of deer or some other game. And in the process of doing so, like the light kind of the fading light to the west kind of glints off some object up in the sky, like by sky, that's probably overstating it, but it's maybe 20, 30 feet, kind of glinting through some of the branches, and it kind of makes your head turn over so slightly, and you let the arrow go, and you feel your bow just snap, and you look down and you realize that you haven't been kind of keeping too good a care of that snap, and your hand is kind of bleeding at this point from that strange snap, and you look up, and the deer that you were tracking has gone wide. Go ahead and so you failed, right? You failed. Looks like failed to me.
It does.
Looks like failed.
But the difficulty is 17, and technically my hunting difficulty is 13. So I'm not sure if
I don't know why that. Why would it be 13? I don't.
Because that's the target number.
It says 16 though. I don't know.
I know, that's the weird thing. I rolled it off the company sheet instead of my sheet.
Oh.
Which could have been why. I can re-roll off of my sheet.
And go ahead.
17 is for when she's fatigued, but she doesn't take fatigue anymore.
Okay, you do pass. Okay, so you look at your hand. Your hand's bleeding a little bit, but it's nothing too terrible. And you look at you probably carry extra supplies, and you can kind of restring your bow without too much trouble. You are kind of all of you kind of get bogged down a little bit in the storm and like running out of food here and there. As you track down like where this glint was coming from, you realize it wasn't actually the sun itself, but rather as you push between this heavy grouping of trees, you notice this ruined old stair, like this staircase that goes up and then kind of reverses and comes back. And you can see that somewhere around like the third level, it kind of crumbles. But the odd thing is that you don't see any building attached to it. It's just the stair, just up and up. But when you're watching, as the thunder is kind of going around in the back, you can see that there's these sort of like these large birds that keep swooping down, and there's some kind of nest, and you realize that it's like they've got something up there that's just like every time you look at it, you kind of move your head around. It's a piece of you're not sure if it's metal or if it's glass or something, but it's kind of giving you. It's kind of continuing to like get into the corner of your eye. It's becoming very irritating. And also the ruins just look very peculiar. You see absolutely no signs of a building. It's just this lone stair is in the middle of this forest. What would you like to do?
Sorry, I was having some issues with my sheet. Definitely would like to investigate that.
Okay. So do you want to climb up? Is that what you're like?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what that means? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll athletics test. It's a little wet. It's a crumbling stone. But go ahead and roll athletics as you kind of climb on up.
16, great success.
Yeah, you move up without a whole lot of trouble. It's that last couple of steps where you can see some of them have already failed. There's like this landing spot where that looks to be this large roost, and when you get up there, the birds themselves, like they start squawking, and when you see them, they're like scavenger birds. You can probably tell of some kind, but they're not. They don't seem to be like aggressively coming at you, but they're certainly like squawking at your sudden appearance. But you notice that in the middle of this roost, in addition to what looks like some gamey bits of some like small game, like a ripped up squirrel or so. Mm-hmm. You notice this kind of bloody sack of like leather sack has been kind of spilled out, and you can see that stumbling there is like a handful of what looks like you think there's like it's probably silver that's been kind of glinting back at you, as if like there's just this pack of random goods up here. Like goblets and dinnerware and things.
Riddle is not going to immediately concern herself with that. She's going to kind of see the blood that's on that and see if she sees any other drops of blood around and see if she can find the owner of this.
Sure. Roll an awareness, and at this point, the rest of you, you can kind of come looking around. Maybe you heard the yelp from Erennial and you come running, and you can see that she's climbed up this stair, and it's like 3 stories high, or nearly 3 stories high. The last like floor is kind of crumbled a bit, and you can see she's fishing around somewhat in this nest, and you can see these birds are squawking loudly, and they're beginning to kind of take off. There's these large kind of blackish brown, some kind of, you think maybe hawks of some kind. You're not entirely sure. And she's sort of looking around for things. What are the three of you doing as you approach?
You definitely hear a Reniel like, "Oh, my hand! Oh, my hand!"
I'll just shout up to her. If there's anything worthwhile, just throw it down.
There's someone's pack and there's blood on it. There must be someone that dropped this blood. We should try to find them. And Iriniel is not going to mention that there is other things up here.
Floy, roll an awareness test. Yeah, you don't see the glint. You don't see the glint. Gilly or Erebon, are you two, either of you up to something?
When she mentions that someone's like in danger, or possibly, Gilly will start looking around to see if she notices anything.
Sure, you can roll an awareness. Erebon, anything for you?
I think I would try to go up and join her to look for clues up there.
All right, athletics test for you to climb up. Gilly, you don't notice any signs of like a blood trail or anything like that around on the ground. It's a fairly lush area, so like the trees are fairly closely compact. There's a lot of other underbrush here and there. These like roots that are kind of gnarled and kind of kicking into and out. It actually doesn't even make sense like why this building really would be here, as everything's so closely cropped onto another. But you don't notice anything. There's like a stream nearby. But you don't see any blood or anything like that.
Okay.
Erebon, give me that athletics test.
I'm going to use Elven skill, spending a hope. And okay. I'm just Grace. I'm lithe. I'm doing the Legolas jumping up, falling rocks.
Oh, you're such a coward.
I would fail that roll so bad.
I know you would. Okay. You can still roll, right? I think you can still roll. You're supposed to with your magical success,
okay,
right?
Okay, yeah.
If you get an extra success, you might be able to do it in an impressive way.
Oh, I almost passed.
Yeah, you don't do it in an impressive way. Instead, it's a very no. You do it with your normal, your usual Elvish Grace, very light on your feet as you leap from step to step, taking 2 or 3 steps at a time. When you get to the crumbled part, you very easily kind of skirt around the areas that are beginning to dissipate. And you can see that this landing area is about maybe about 5 by like 10 feet, like this. But it's again, it looks like the stone is crumbled where it's landing, and it's piled on with various bits of twigs and debris where this roost has been made. You don't notice any signs of like eggs or anything from the birds, but you do see like the torn up game and that bloody sack, and that's it. That's all you see.
How old does the blood look?
It is fairly red, so you would think it's relatively recent. It has been raining, so that might have been helping a little bit, keeping it wet, but it looks pretty red.
I would call out to Gilly down below, knowing that she's searching. This still looks fresh. They could be nearby. They could still be alive.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any blood on the ground.
We don't see a trail other than like just the blood on the pack, right?
I think you haven't rolled. You can roll an awareness. I think you're the only one who hasn't. Okay. You don't see a trail, but with your keen elvish vision, you do notice, as you're kind of looking around, the light's fading, but you do manage to see like the stream that Gilly had kind of moved up to, looked around, but didn't really see anything, and then kind of came back when you called her. But you look beyond it, and you do see that there is somebody like there's a body kind of slumped up against some large boulder, a good 40 feet like north of where that stream is.
I would call out to Gilly and point out the boulder by the stream.
And then she'll be, okay, Floy, let's go check it out.
I'll follow her.
Erennial, we should take care. There's a chance that this pack was brought here by birds that may make it difficult for us up here in their roost. Perhaps we should descend.
I would agree. That would make sense. Let's see if we can bring some aid to this person.
And I try to get down from there before Jeff pulls out a complication.
Well, I mean, are you just going to ignore the shiny silver stuff that's up there?
We could take the pack down. It's Erennial's call if she wants the treasure or not.
Okay. Erennial. Do you want to?
Erennial was going to ignore it for now. I think the priority is the person, and then if we can bring the person back, then
Floy
we can...
and Gilly are heading over there. They're they're going through the stream. It's shallow and easy to cross.
I guess because we don't want the person to have to climb back up for their pack, I'll pick it up, like not with the intention of taking it, but with the intention of reconnecting the person with their stuff. So what do I see in the stuff then?
Well, I think you need to roll an athletics test first to see if you can snatch this from without the birds kind of getting on you. As you can see, they've got some pretty sharp talons, and they're getting very ornery up here.
All right, let's see how that goes. I am, just because I think this is fun, I'm going to spend a hope because I am swift.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Think this fits.
Yeah. Oh, I love getting hope on rolls like this. Oh, it's so good.
Athletics plus hope. Sorry, my sheet's lagging a bit.
Okay. Yeah, we're having some foundry troubles today, or forge troubles. I'm not sure which.
We almost didn't get in today. I was like,
I know. We were like, oh no, I don't know if we can play. I see an Eye of Sauron.
Yes, you do, but it's still a success. But yes, there's an Eye of Sauron there.
Go ahead, just mark that down. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you managed to reach out and grab it. You can see one of these birds just like rakes this like talon out at you, like almost trying to grab your hand. Not so much the pack, barely missing you, and you can see that it scrapes the pack as you pull it away, and it kind of tears a very small little hole in it. You can go ahead and add treasure 4 to your pack. Meanwhile, Floy and Gilly, you trudge across the stream. You can see that there's very sadly, there is a dwarf here that seems to be slumped against this large boulder. You can see they do not appear to be amongst the living, sadly, and you notice right away that there are these dark arrows sticking out of them that you, at this point, would be fairly familiar are probably goblin arrows. And there's quite a few. There's like a good 7 or 8 of them.
Oh. Gilly would like to see if there's anything that marks who he is. Like,
check for ID.
Yeah, or like,
does he have a driver's license?
Floyd, do you recognize? Is there like a clan symbol?
All dwarves know each other.
No, I mean, like, does he recognize like any clan symbols or anything?
Okay. Sure. Floy, I'll tell you what. Floy, roll a riddle test, and we'll determine whether or not this is a dwarf you recognize.
Never seen it in my life.
So close.
Like how you assume that the fail means that you don't recognize them. Maybe it's the other way around. You do recognize them, and now you feel heartbroken. No, you definitely don't. They have what looks like this sort of long braid going down the back of their head that's frayed a bit here and there, and yeah, you don't really piece it together. You're not sure. But you can tell that most of their, like, whatever they had, like, weapons wise, has been stripped from them. Like, so, and you can tell that, like, they're missing, their boots have been stripped from them. No knife on their belts. You know, whatever axe or sword they might have been using has been taken as well. And so they're just here. And when you can reach out and you touch them, and they're cool. So they're not, you know, like, they've been here they've been out in the rain and kind of unfortunately passed maybe a day. But you don't recognize them specifically. They do have some kind of necklace on with this knotted swirl as a pendant, but it doesn't strike an immediate recognition from you, Floy.
I will pick him up and bring him back, though.
Okay. So you pick him up and kind of carry him back to the camp. And at this point, we'll say Ariniel and Erebon, you climb down from that stair, and you can see that they're carrying this dwarf with them. You have your bag of treasure, Ariniel. Anything else you all look to do?
What seems to have befallen this dwarf?
Goblins got him.
Yeah. And Gilly will show an arrow.
This area seems to be overrun. I was hoping to reunite him with his bag, but I'll wonder if he was traveling alone or had a group. I might look around a bit, see if the rain has washed away all other footsteps or if there might be someone else here.
It's pretty soggy at this point. It's been raining fairly steadily for a little while. It's not storming like torrential, but it's been steady rain for a bit. I don't really notice anything of any heavy tracks in any particular direction. When you check out the spot where they found him, like, there's definitely scattered tracks of, you know, kind of moving off eastwardly, you think. But from what you can tell as you follow them, you think that's likely the band of goblins here. But nothing really to go on.
If he did not travel alone, his companions are not here. Has the rain stopped enough that Ariniel could, like, she always likes to, you know, kind of climb up and try to kind of get a view of the landscape and kind of get a sense of these ruins, like what?
Yeah, you can climb. I mean, we'll say, like, when you climbed up the stairs, like, that was a fairly high climb to begin with. That was a good 30 to 35 feet in the air. But it's a very, like I said, this area of this forest, as you're reaching its western edge, is fairly dense with trees and vegetation, and you don't notice. That's kind of what makes it so very peculiar. Is like there's this fairly old stair. Whatever this was connected to, either A, wasn't built, or B, has long ago crumbled to ruin, or, which is another quite likely possibility, is much like around Bree, you know that one of the things that they often do is they'll send out parties of stoneworkers and such to some of these ruins that people find to salvage the stone and, like, bring the stone back to Bree for repurposing. So it's possible that that's happened, and for some reason the stairs are the last to have occurred. You're a couple days away from the Blue Mountains, and there's still several clans of dwarves who call the mountains home, so it's possible they could have come and reclaimed some of this. You're not sure.
Can Ariniel look through the pack? Like, was there anything?
Yeah, it honestly just looks like a treasure, like a treasure hunter bag. Like, you can tell there's like random, random trinkets and things. Roll a riddle test, actually.
Sure. Fail. It's impossible for me unless I roll again.
I mean, it really just looks like, goblets and platters and things like that. Silver, mostly. Yeah. Decent stuff.
Normally, Ariniel would have kind of shared with Floy, but after kind of recent events, she will kind of keep this to herself for now.
Wow. So you're keeping all that 4 treasure on your own sheet?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure you
Yes,
mark
I am.
that down. Okay.
I did.
All right.
Do we bring him with us to the Hall of Dwarfs, or should we bury him?
I will carry him myself.
So you guys are about 5 days away from the Hall of Doors, just so you know. It's going to be roughly that. So you're going to be carrying them for at least 5 days.
Yeah, how much?
And then you would also know,
decomposition?
right, which that's up to you all to decide whether you want to deal with that. And also you would know that burning would probably be the better thing to do. If you weren't going to bring them with you, rather than bury, you'd probably burn. Meaning that's just like the preference.
Yeah.
For Dwarvish.
If he comes unbearable, we can burn him. But if we can make it for the 5 days.
Perhaps we should craft some sort of litter so you don't have to
Yeah.
physically hold him on your shoulders.
Yeah, as he decomposes.
All right. Okay,
I-
so
I appreciate your integrity toward your fellow folk here, but this may prove unwise in short term.
With how wet it's been, decomposition might accelerate. Could we return his ashes?
CSI area door.
Yeah, that's Ashley information. I don't know.
No, I think it's fair.
That is also possible.
Yeah, you would know that. So basically, there's a limited amount of this information that I can find when it comes to this. I was actually looking this up a while back in case Thorgrimr Thebe died. But if usually if it's like if there's a mountain, if like you can encase them in stone somewhere, that would be the best case. But if they're not of this, then burning would be the thing. But once the body, once the life is gone, like there's not a whole lot of concern at that point about the body. Items could be passed along to kin. That could be something like heirlooms and things would probably be the most important thing.
Okay, then I'll just take the necklace that you pointed out earlier and
Sure.
just get to burning him.
Yeah, it's just like this knotted. You think it's like a probably bronze or something that's folded around on itself. You set up a pyre, no problem. It's a little difficult with the rain, but you eventually get the fire warm, big enough that it doesn't really matter. You find a place to do it that's a little bit away from your camp. Morning eventually will come, and you kind of move on again for the day. But you guys took some time off to do this, so take 2 fatigue, everybody but Irinial, because she didn't contribute. Not because that's what it is. Range is just chilling in the back.
Well, if Irenial doesn't take fatigue, what if the rest of us were just resting while Irenial built the pyre?
I'm sorry, that's it's too late for that. And then when you're ready, Floyd, go ahead and roll another travel test. Ambush with a decom stench.
I forgot I had my weathering stone here. Is it okay if I use that for advantage? Or favor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sunstone, yeah.
It's well, no, isn't that for? Don't you get a bonus die with it, or is it specifically giving?
It's
you...
equipment gear. Is it bonus die or is it?
It's a bonus die.
Yeah, it's an extra die.
Yeah, it's an extra die. Favored. Look at this guy.
I thought it was favored.
Who are you trying to be, Melissa? You're cheating. I hope that's right, by the way.
I'm pretty sure I used to as favored, but if it's bonus, I'll just do bonus.
Oh, okay. Well, the next, let's say, 12 dice rolls. Let's just do it ill-favored then. Okay, success this time.
Success.
All right. Okay. Let me... Okay. One of the things that I have to switch between these things. That's 1, 2... All right. So... All right. I think that makes sense. All right. Sorry. It's just being a little slow today.
I was trying to look up the sunstone, but that was also slowing down a little bit.
Oh my god, it's not even rolling correctly. Scout. Who is this guy? I believe that is Erebon.
Yeah.
All right,
Need an
Erebon, go ahead and roll an explore test.
I'm so good at these.
I believe in you.
Hey, Gandalf. And a 7.
Eh. Was it a real Gandalf, Melissa? Did you notice?
I wasn't. I was
It
looking
was
up
a
the
real
sunstone.
Gandalf.
So we've noticed that there's a little bit of an error that pops up with the rolling dice, where sometimes like it'll give credit for Gandalf, but the actual virtual die will show an Eye of Sauron,
An Eye of Sauron.
and it always favors the players. It never helps me.
Yeah, it's always like an eye that is registered as a Gandalf.
Okay, so you all are getting up into the foothills of these areas, and you notice at one point, Erebon, as you're starting to move up these, they're not clear paths. In some case, like they're definitely well-worn mountain paths, but it's not like they've been paved or marked in any particular way. But you can tell that some of these roads, there's clear signs of like cart ruts and such as merchants from the dwarves have come on out. You find yourself as you're stepping away from the group, kind of thinking your own thoughts and sort of kind of going off, having some usual Erebon me time. And as you're looking at this literal split, this kind of fork in the path, you see that one of them begins to descend and wind down into this sort of darkened vale at the within the foothills of the mountains themselves, and you see the other kind of starts to sprawl upwards, and that's the way that your group went. But you look down and you see like carved into what looks like just this very smooth, very flat stone, and looks almost like a slab itself that has been partially carved. You can just see like these, elvish runes have been partially carved into it, like it was interrupted along the way. And you can see that the phrase, like specifically says like "here lies," and it doesn't really elaborate. You can tell that it was like interrupted in some fashion. And as you're looking at it, you're staring at this slab and this darkened descent into this veiled path. You kind of feel this dusty, cold breeze just like waft up from the darkness below, and you feel like your hair kind of flap around a bit, and you almost actually feel something tap against you, like on your shoulder. You just feel like a tap, and you turn around, and there's no one there. And then when you turn back around again and you look at the slab, you can see that the words that you had seen a moment prior carved in aren't there any longer, and it's just a smooth, flat stone that's leaned up against the side of this mountain wall.
I would definitely move forward to the stone and touch it, trying to feel for the etching.
Yeah, you feel around for it, and it is very, very smooth, not porous in any respect. It's not been polished. It's just sort of smooth. So there's some rough parts here and there along the outskirts. But as you look around with your fingers, and with your elvish eyes for any signs of like that carved portion, you do not find it.
Looking around the stone, would I be able to see anywhere that would like even hint towards a grave of some sort or a tomb?
Roll an awareness test.
Just barely a success.
Yeah, you notice as you're kind of staring down that dark path once more, that there is what you think is the contours of like an archway on, we'll call it like the southwestern side of this descending path into the dark. And you swear it's got to be a carved archway, like something carved directly out of the rock, something the dwarves would do regularly. And you take a couple steps and kind of turn, and you can see there's a very large set, the stone door that seems to be inlaid within that arch. This looks very much like a tomb entrance.
I would try to open it.
You go up. It would take an athletics test to do it like instantly, but this is one of those situations where I'll say like a take 20 type of deal. Like you'll get it open eventually, but you push it open and like dust and dryness just comes wafting out, like utterly wafting into your face, and not a foul smell so much as just like dryness, and you can feel kind of it starting to catch in your throat, and you start coughing. And then when you peer inside, it's a fairly shallow tomb, but you notice that there are these four like rectangular blocky stone setups, these slabs, like sarcophagi almost, set up, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. One appears longer than the others.
Like one is elf length, the others are dwarf length.
Sure, yeah.
Do I see any markings on those?
They do appear to have names associated with them. You notice that one, for the shorter ones, you see Bachroleg, like with this weird apostrophe in the middle. You see Dami, Dami. You see Grusat. I'm trying to think. Do you have any specific, like, in your past, did you have any specific encounters like with dwarves or anything like that?
No, mostly with humans.
Okay, fair enough. And then when you step up to the actual grave stone for this elf, this one is unfortunately unlabeled. No mark whatsoever. There is this sort of kind of this flourish of what looks like leaves and like twigs and stuff that have been carved around it. It does look like like someone attempting to mimic some of the common sigils and things of elves of Linden, especially from the like For Linden and such to the west. But you don't see any specific name attached to it.
I would walk the length of it, just trailing my hand along the smooth stone, feeling the coldness against my skin, following the etchings with my fingers, look at it for several minutes. Would there be a way to open it without really disturbing it? Like, is it sealed shut? Or would
it's not
I be
sealed,
able to...
it's just extraordinarily heavy.
Extraordinarily, yeah.
Yeah. You probably would need help with it, I would think.
Right.
If you want, you can roll a riddle test, by the way.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
And I'll spend a hope.
Okay.
To get an elven skill success.
Okay.
I might be miserable here.
Nice. You are. That's where Erebon exists, let's be honest. So as you're kind of running your hands across and looking at this, at first what seemed like a pale imitation, you realize actually isn't. And in fact, this little kind of frame carving over the top of this slab, as you wipe away some of this this dust from above, you realize it actually in the middle of like the different leaves and things, you see these flowers that are popping out here and there, and you see like kind of hidden amongst it some of the iconography. You actually catch some Elvish kind of language, like some Sindarin kind of carved in there. Golden flower. And you would, I think that's, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I think that would come out to something like Malos.
Would that have special meaning to me in lore-wise?
No, it's probably you would think it's a reference to the person laying here.
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better that it's not someone I would know.
Right.
So I would not try to open it. And I would leave and try to reseal the tomb as best as I can.
Okay.
And when I'm done with that, I would call over Floy. If I could shout and he'd be within hearing distance. I know I went off on my own.
Sure. But at a certain point, they might look around and be like, oh, where'd that guy go? And then they kind of go, maybe. But
probably not with me, though. They'd probably try to keep going.
You've been with the group long enough. They they know you. So, yeah. So, Floy, you eventually hear Erebon calling. You kind of backtrack, and you see him standing near the entrance to what looks like some kind of tomb.
What have you found here?
I've found a tomb, and I was curious, those carving tools that I handed to you, could they carve this stone? And I would point towards the smooth stone where I originally saw the etching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I think these could.
We need to put the words on the stone, and I would try to get a small fire going for like charcoal or something like that, or maybe steal some of Gilly's ink, and I would try to, as best I could from memory, try to write "Here lies," and then I would fill it in with golden flour.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then I will get working on that. I could try sketching that up.
Do you do anything with the names of the dwarves as well, or is it just the Elvish name that you put up there?
It was an Elvish tomb, so it would just be the Elvish name.
Okay. All right. So you close it up and you start sketching into it. It takes some time. Like, you're carving into, so it's probably like a camp. You guys camp out at the base of the hills here, and finish up. Morning comes. You look up. The job has been done. You feel moderately better, perhaps, about yourself, having helped identify this tomb in some way. Erebon, you can go ahead and take 1 hope for doing a good deed.
Ooh, I'm not miserable again.
I would have given you more, but you only put the elf names, so...
Yeah, I mean, they're dwarves.
Okay.
Sorry, Floy. Thank you, Floy, for doing that.
Okay, so technically you guys are not directly to your destination. You're 1 hex away, so I'm just we're there effectively. So you can go ahead and convert your, what's it called? Let's do our travel conversion as we trudge up the final bit towards this hall. So let me bring that up once more, as I've forgotten how to do it.
I think while you're looking that up, I would say, because Floy and Erebon were kind of doing that for a while, so I would say Arenial would probably kind of see what Gilly was up to and just kind of say, it's been a rough few days that we've had. How are you doing?
I mean, fine, I guess. I'm just ready for it to be over.
That's kind of what I've been thinking about it. It seems, we feel better when we have some time and we can get back to our rituals, but it seems when we go out, we need to go for longer and longer, and it's having its toll.
I just want us to be where we were when we began. We're so strained, and sometimes it feels like we're not friends anymore. What is that? Why?
I think when we see the things that we've seen, I don't think we can be the same. We are very much different than our companions that don't travel with us. we can tell them about these things, but it's not the same as fighting the battles with us and wearing the wounds with us.
And like Gilly just kind of like nods and sighs, and she's like, yeah, I guess.
But we will always look out for each other. There's hope in that.
It's not that I'm not hopeful, but I miss the excitement. Now it's like, what's the next problem?
And Irenia will nod with understanding that it wasn't too long ago that we wrote song about our battle and our success. And I feel like the next one we do won't be as boastful, perhaps.
Yeah. And Gilly's still kind of just morose. And she's like, yeah. And she goes back to eating or whatever she was doing.
Okay.
Before we get to the Hall of Dwarves, I'll just group up with the party. I know the last fortnight's been rough, especially in the village. I had restless nights. It wasn't who I was. My actions, my words. I hope you can forgive me for that. We're about to enter my home. I'll consider this family here, treat you well. And you're going to need a bath. We have nice baths here.
And we're disgusting. And Gilly's like, yeah.
Baths. Okay, then.
We will appreciate the hospitality, and we will not look to embarrass you among your own.
All right.
And Iridial never really cares all that much about her appearance or how dirty she is, and so now suddenly she's like readjusting her braid and realizing the truth in Floyd's words.
All right, so let's do the end of the journey stuff as you come upon these beautiful, it's kind of these beautiful archways kind of enter into the mountain. It's raised up above. It's not, all the way up the mountain, obviously. It's up above the foothills and things. It's a day or so from the tomb that Erebon discovered. You can see these ornate large doors that are kind of carved into the, well, not carved, but they're set into the side of the mountain, partially open. You can see that there's kind of a landing area in front here and there where there's people coming and going. You can see dwarves, but you also see there's like other like kind of travelers. That like there's like a merchant, like a little kind of merchant market that seems to be transpiring by the time you arrive. You get there kind of midday, and it looks like business is being done by those not among, not necessarily of dwarven heritage, but they're, having business with dwarven heritage. And you arrive, you are looking very much worse for wear. You've been traveling through a constant state of storms, and you've been, I think it's been about 17 days, is what I ended up calculating in terms of your full travel time by the time you arrive. So let's do the end of the journey stuff. Everyone make a travel roll. Let me get my sorry, Forge was finally working, so I had to reset a few things. Get my dwarf music going.
So that was a 9, and I needed an 18.
That's a shame.
Mel, can I have a dice, please?
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh. That helps you not so much. There.
I have 1 dice.
I have 0.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
You start. You all like Flo. You're leading the way, and you can tell that there's times when like you see a guard or someone else. One of your kind of dwarven merchants, part of your clan or someone you would know, who see you and recognize you. They give you some sort of warm greeting here and there. You can tell that most of these people aren't being let inside, but because you are leading this group, you're getting second. Like, people are kind of looking at you here and there, but they kind of let you pass. And the entire group is kind of entering through this large archway, this of very beautiful stone doors. And you're into this long hall. You can hear like the distant sounds of various tools of labor at work. The sounds of folks talking that are kind of just cascading through the various halls. You see branching off. You see these different hallways, shorter, not necessarily as high and arched as the one that you're currently in, kind of branching off in these different locales. It's this whole network of these different places. All of you who failed. You make a travel test. A success reduces your fatigue by 1, plus 1 point for each success icon. Floyd, I think you got a great success, so it should be reduction of 2 for you. Then I should also say, by the way, that you should have taken 2 more from Erebon's thing. So you take 2 more. So everyone should have been at 6, with the exception of Arinial. And then
how much Floyd, were you at Arinial?
Thank you for asking. That's 0.
0. So Floyd, you can reduce yours to 4, and then everyone go ahead and shift that over now to. So it's like there's the travel load box under your load score. So you're basically.
I was already at 6, and 2 more would have put me up to 8.
No, you should have. You should have been at a total of. Hang on, I can track this now.
Because I was at 4 at the start of the session, then we took 2 from.
Took 2 from the stair. You're right. You should be at 8.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, with the exception of Ariniel, because we know she doesn't want to have fun.
Sorry, Arenial wasn't keeping track, otherwise she would have narked on us, so I had to do it for her.
Well done. Okay.
I'm doing the hard work of carrying the treasure for everyone.
So, I turn the game now over to Long. As Long, this is your home. Where do we go from here?
We can make our way to the vault or to my home. Take a rest there.
You're willing to share your home with us?
Of course, we shared many camps, many meals. You're most welcome. I have many cousins, family, brothers and sisters. It'll feel like their home.
Okay. All right, so many cousins and siblings. I now realize that Long has a very big family. Okay, didn't know that. Okay. All right, so you head over. So what does it look like for you? Like, how do you envision where Floyd lives? I can give you the generic, tall ceilings, columns and pillars, alcoves here and there, various networks and bridges and tunnels that kind of connect to these different groups, where different sections of this area of the Blue Mountain, of the area of the Loon, where the doors rest here. Now it's not as, what would I say? It's probably not as elaborate as like Erebor or Moria, but it nonetheless is still extraordinarily impressive architecture and engineering of stone. So what does, in your mind, Floyd, what does it look like?
Very fine stone. It's gonna be pretty medium-sized home. Walk through the markets, walk through a bunch of other commercial homes as well. It's almost like a castle, like a mini castle. Exterior is well built. Interior, a bunch of windows. Interior, go inside. Everything's finely made, handcrafted. Probably just like the structure and how things are made. You haven't seen how fine they are compared to Bree. I think we're in a mountain, so it's like Mountainside.
Who do you first introduce them to? Because I know I have two names from one of your downtimes. You had Eloy, who is one of your friends.
Yeah.
He might even be your brother with a name like Eloy and Floy. That sounds like
True.
Dwarves do that. They rhyme their names sometimes. So there's Eloy, and I know that he was a blacksmith that helped you out with kind of getting some of your equipment ready. And then there was Jetty, who you considered like I think it was like your family elder. Like I'm not sure if that means it's a father or a grandfather or an uncle or whatever. But there's Jetty as well, and I know that they carried a very large greatsword. So those are the details I have here.
Yeah, I think he was more like the vault guy because I remember dropping off like armor to him.
So basically so he's more of like the vault tender as opposed to like a family figure.
Yeah, but when we arrive home, I can introduce them to my mother.
Okay.
Her name.
So I would also, by the way, tell you that dwarves, like female dwarves, look very much like male dwarves to the point where like only dwarves would be able to tell the difference. So go ahead. Tell us about your mother.
Yeah, she's pretty much just a home. Stays at home. She bakes, cooks, does all that. She does drill. Yeah, theme.
Okay.
She's a hand driller as a hobby.
Okay. So when are you in good terms with your?
Oh yeah, of course. Big happy family.
So when she sees you coming in, she's like, "My beautiful baby boy, coming home." Something like that.
I'm home, mother. I brought my friends.
You've got friends? And she looks around as like the three of you come in. Oh, goodness. I know you've been away here and there, but I didn't quite realise you had such an array of friends and figures in your retinue. Tell me who these people are. Sit. You're welcome here. Any ally, any travel compatriot of my boy is welcome amongst my halls.
Yeah, I pretty much sit down. This is Aurinial, Gilly, and Airbon. I've traveled with them for a while. I told you a little bit about them.
Oh, and she kind of looks at a few of them. This little one right here is the one who's been doing all the writing about you, your exploits, your adventures. Oh, we should introduce her to some of our lore masters and make sure that the travels of Floyd, the adventures are recorded properly. You know, not in whatever small bits of parchment she has, you know, but properly.
Would love to contribute to that. Thank you.
And she looks over at like Aurinial, like, oh my, quite a tall one you are. And so she like, you know, she kind of greets you here. I mean, she's a very, very nice, sweet woman. Looks over at Erebon. You brought an elf. Hello, Master Elf. I am, did you say Theme? Is that what it was? Okay. I am Theme. This is my boy Floy. You are welcome here amongst our halls. As long as you don't cause any trouble.
Very stiffly, Erebon would say, "It is a pleasure to meet the father of Floy."
And she just kind of chuckles, like, keen eyes these elves have, I hear. Keen eyes.
Airbon, that's my mother.
Oh, apologies, ma'am.
No, it's fine. Surface folk like yourself often get us confused. It's no bother to me. Now, sit, everyone sit. It's a feast. We'll have beer, and we'll have food. We've got meats and breads. We've got everything. Sit down. We'll fill your bellies. I'm just so happy to see my boys returned. Sit, all of you. You're very young too. Floyd's young, right? You're young for
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we say that Aurinial had done some like hunting as we were here, so she's like come presenting some like fresh game to contribute to The meal?
Sure, that's fine. Got some counties. Oh, okay. Kind of hand over a couple rabbits or so, maybe that you caught along the way. And kind of hand them over, and she's like, oh. And then she looks at you again. Couldn't dress him first? That's fine. No, that's fine. And then she kind of hurries off at that point.
Fresh water for me if you have it. Beer gives me bouts of melancholy.
Water? Okay. She kind of looks over towards Floy at this point, and she gives you like kind of a look. Water? Okay. Oh, I should say, there's someone here looking for you. He's with Jetty. I believe last I saw, your patron Bellin has been spending the past few weeks in our halls. You should seek him out. He was quite interested in your travels, and he was very sad to have missed you when you were here in the winter.
Oh, we haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, we'll go catch up with him as soon as possible.
Yes, he says you were on errands for him, and he on errand for you. So perfect timing that you would both be here. So we'll say then that you spend a bit of time, meeting the fam. Do any of your brothers or anything like that show up as well? Do you have lists for the whole family?
Yeah, intermittent. I'll say I have like 12 siblings.
Oh God!
They just hop in and out every now and then.
What are their names?
Oi, oi, hello, oi, welcome. Hello.
So, Floy, where are you in the list of 12? Like, are you the baby?
Yeah, I'll be the baby.
You're the youngest? Okay.
The youngest dwarf.
Some of the older ones come in. Oh, look at this, the little one. The prodigal son returns. Look at this one. Thinks he's a treasure hunter. Oh, I guess our holes are just too good for old Floy, isn't it? They come over kind of, I don't know, dwarf noogies or something. I'm not sure. All right.
Gilly
okay.
is surprisingly quiet this entire time. She's taking it all in, and she's got like a constant little blush on her cheeks, and she's ignoring all of you.
Okay. So we'll say a few hours pass of just like reverie amongst Floyd's family. I mean, to a point, like, a Rennial. I mean, like he actually, you can tell that like Floyd does seem better. But like overall, like kind of, there's that sort of uncertainty here and there. But people come and go within the halls of where Floy grew up, whereas his mother seems to be just providing so much food, But eventually, we'll say you drink and you eat until late into the eve, and at a certain point, you see kind of walking through the halls of this kind of burrow within the mountain where Floy, your family calls home, so to speak. There is your old patron Balin walking in, white hair, kind of a sunburned but wrinkly face, suggesting he's spent a decent amount of time outside in the past few weeks. You all, with the exception of Erebon, are probably a few sheets to the wind as you've been drinking here and there. But he wanders in and he takes a look at her. Well, look what the cat drug in. I think that's what the humans say. It's a fine sight to see the three of you and Master Elf as well. It has been too long. And we have much to discuss, I'm afraid. I don't want to interfere with any of your homecomings. Our business, I suppose, can wait until tomorrow. But it would be prudent for us to have a discussion at some point, if it pleases you.
Yeah, Balin, you look great. Come. Enjoy this.
I might look great, but I am quite exhausted. I have been traveling from one side to the other, from the Blue Mountains to the Misty, from the Misty to the Blue. Spent time, fortunately, around winter time back home, and I have been I haven't had much more than a fortnight without travel. It is a tricky thing to find a wizard, and I can't say that I have successfully done so. But I do have a bit of good news for all of you. But what? Tell me, avail me of your adventures of late. Last we spoke was in Bree, many months ago. What has since come of the mighty group from Coombe and this elf?
Reneal's gonna kick him over a stool and pass him a tankard of ale. We will tell you.
Thank you. I'm a bit thirsty. I don't remember the voice. I should have looked it back up. It's been so long since I've done Balin. I forgot.
It has been a while.
I don't want to just do like really bad Scottish because I don't want Mark to watch this and be like, "Jeff, your Scottish sucks." I'm not going,
Yeah, Erebon's never actually met Balin. That's how long it's been.
So.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, the first thing is we saved this guy. He was captured by some orcs, and so this
Hillfolk.
is hillfolk. Sorry. This is Erebon. Erebon. This is our patron.
I am Balin, son of Fundin. I am. It is a fine title for me, but really I'm just friendly to them all. They offered a task for me, and it spiraled a bit out of control, I think. What should have been cleaning up a few hillsides of goblins and orcs turned into, well, a much larger adventure than I think all of us anticipated.
I agree.
We did take out Rotag. He is no longer with.
Oh, that brings great warmth to my heart. I am quite glad to hear it. I will forward such information to others. I have spoken with King Dane of Erebor, and he has agreed to send a group of scouts and a small contingent of dwarves to Mount Gundabad to inquire about what activity might be happening there. I know last we spoke we were concerned about where this Rotag, his warband, might be headed. To know that you have cut the head off the snake is quite reassuring. But,
It was Irenial here who struck the final blow.
Did you know? Well, I believe it's you that I should be. You should be having malted beer served to you, not I.
Oh, I have had more than my share. Thank you, though.
No, I don't think you had. Faye, could you... Our poor human friend here is far too modest and far too sober. Could you bring a few kegs more, if you don't mind? You see your mother kind of wild. She's got a keg on one side, kind of setting them up and everything.
I wrote a song about killing Rotag. And
Well,
and
just hear
Gilly's
it.
kind of a few sheets to the wind, so she's going to attempt to sing it.
Okay. All right.
She does not do it well.
Okay. Is it Mike, you forget the words, or is it add a key? Like, what happens?
It's more so like she can't hold a tune to save her life.
Okay.
But like she's very off key, but like you can follow like the tune of what she means it to be, and like the lyrics are good. But
You can tell Balin is like big smile, but every now and then his head kind of turns. What a wonderful composition, little hobbit. What a wonderful composition.
maybe someone else should sing it next time, but I wrote it. And
You are a masterful songwriter. Emphasis on the writing.
Better than anything I could have come up with. And
Oh,
I'm the champion.
nonsense.
It's what I do. I come up with the songs. But
You cut heads off of powerful orcs and threatening the safety of people in Bree. You don't need to sing songs there, Renil. Don't sell yourself short. You are
that's
contributing
right, I
far.
do. And so she's just gonna like take the ale from him and just down it.
Okay. All right. Oh dear. Well, That's what I like to see. Oh, and you, Master Elf, you obviously they rescued you, are you? And you've decided to stay in their company.
For now, yes.
I may have bullied him into it a little bit.
And whereabouts do you hail from? Are you he's kind of eyeing you up a little bit. He's like, you don't have the Mirkwood look about you. Rivendell, perhaps, maybe? Trying to get an assessive. This is my first time encountering elves.
I was raised in Linden long ago.
Oh, I see, just to the west of the mountains here. Oh, I see. Oh. Well, it must be rewarding to be home. Well, close enough. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Forlington, and Harlington is just to the south. Are you journeying home after this, or are you going to continue your travels with the trio?
Yes, and I look around. It feels just like home. I do not believe I will be continuing south.
Oh, it's a shame to hear. It's a shame to hear. I'll be heading that way soon. I will be. I've got
you
some...
will?
I do, and I will indeed.
What business do you have in Linden?
I've got. I'm trying to. It's not so much. It's Mifflin I'm heading to, and Greyhaven. So I'm trying to track down a very hard to wrangle grey wizard who. It's been quite some time since I've seen him. I've it on good authority is somewhere to the west here, and perhaps some of your people down in the Greyhavens might be able to lend me a piece of information. If not, I have it on even better authority from a dear friend of mine that he will be in the Shire in the summertime. So if I can't get him before spring ends, I do know that he will be somewhere in the Shire around summer. He cannot resist your people. Well, not your people, Gilly, but people of the Shire. You see him kind of drink a bit.
If you make it to the Greyhavens, perhaps I could ask you a favor.
Certainly, there's no if. I certainly will. I may look old, but I've got a great deal of experience and a good deal of world travel underneath my belt. I have every confidence.
I meant no offense. I perhaps you could just be open for some news of an elf named Balavan.
Balavan, of course I will. Absolutely I will. Friend of yours, I assume?
No, and don't tell anyone I was asking either.
Well, this sounds a bit curious. You want me to inquire about a friend of yours, but you don't want me to mention that it is you doing the inquiring. It's a bit suspicious, don't you think?
Yeah, yes, I'm not inquiring. I don't go out of your way. I just mean, like, if you hear something, it would be nice to know.
I will certainly keep my ears perked up in listening to for any news of this fella. Were captured with you, perhaps? Are you concerned about his well-being?
No, I have not seen him in some time, and I'm just I find myself, let's say, nostalgic.
Ah, I see. I understand. Sometimes it's hard to go home again after you've been away for quite some time. I can tell you, Master Elf, that is a feeling I know quite well. But I can also tell you that once you do go home, it will be all worth it. You see, I was part of a group of dwarves who reclaimed our ancestral home many years past. It was a difficult task, and we've lost some of our own in the process. and we weren't sure if we would ever see our home again. And there is not a day that goes by that I don't regret not taking up such difficult tasks sooner and having more time within those halls. And I have to tell you that I have it in mind to continue such a task. That's something for later. However, I encourage you to put the past aside, and maybe, just maybe, the home that you travel to will be different in ways that are perhaps better than where you left it.
That is easier said than done for an elf. Our lives, the past feels as if it was just yesterday.
Well, I'll take your word for that, Master Elf. But you do seem intent on avoiding your home and your people, and I will pry no longer.
I appreciate your help.
Of course, of course. So he turns to the rest of you. As I said, this was news. I've been trying to notify a few folks of the discoveries you've potentially made. I've notified, as I said, King Dane. I've been looking for Gandalf. Very difficult to find him. I know he will be. In the summer, he'll be visiting our old friend Bilbo for a time. And it's very difficult for that old fella to look away from Mid-Year's Day and the Free Fair Festival. So if you find yourselves near the Shire with nothing to do near summertime, mid-year, you should journey there and you might find myself and my pointy-headed friend.
Well, enough of our travels. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, in addition to running here nor there, I've been asking questions, you see. Questions about this Angmar, and whether there have been rumours or stories as such, and to be fair, not many people travel in that direction. Really, just your folk are any. However, I have gotten some interesting rumours, Angmar related, about these very blue mountains, if you would indulge an old man for a wee bit.
Reniel gives him another ale to wet his whistle while he speaks.
Oh, goodness. Age has its privileges. You see, there is an old dwarf mine in the Blue Mountains here. In fact, there's quite a few of them, indeed. There's many old hills and riddled with them, like an old piece of cheese. The point, however, is that I've spoken with quite a few of the lore masters across these halls, and a few of them have made reference to a very particular place, the specifics of which are hard to determine, but it is agreed upon that it is to the north, in the mountains themselves, far to the north, probably a few weeks' travel. A king of olden times hid there from the kingdom of Arthurdane. Now, I don't count myself amongst human scholars, but fortunately we do have records that have given me some context there. That Arthurdane, the kingdom, one of, I believe it was 3, of a lost realm of Arnor, and this king hid within these dwarven mines for quite a time with all his jewels and his treasures, and it's said that he was pursued by a fearsome beast out of Angmar, and that it's said that the only way he could slay it was by putting the biggest jewel down its throat to choke it. That could just be the dwarven way of embellishing stories. But the interesting truth is that there's an amount of treasure that apparently is still there for the taking. If you can find it, that is. Now, we spoke last about this hillfolk person who was looting old human treasures.
Lottie.
Lottie, yes, thank you, Gilly. And I figured, well, if they're looting old human treasures and artifacts and such, and there is within our own mountains here a vault of value, an old king, and perhaps might be of use to you, at the very least, to keep out of the hands out of those people. And we haven't seen hide nor hair of these hill folk in our parts, so it might be they know nothing at all of this hidden vault of treasures.
Treasure in my own mines. Of course.
Yes,
What an adventure.
you've got to look, and you see as he kind of starts peering over the rim of his mug. Yes, you do have a look to you, don't you? Hawkish and... Well, anyhow, I know not what's in the actual vault itself, or what the king stashed, but and I know not his fate, but I do know it was a tragic one. Otherwise, likely he wouldn't have left it here. But perhaps there could be something of interest to you all, something to keep out of the hands of the people who you fight with, or perhaps something of use in your fight against them, or some hint as to what their ultimate aims might be.
Indeed, quite recently, Floy has been quite motivated when the word treasure has come up.
That's just good treasure hunting, as far as I'm concerned. It's a young man's game. If I were 150 years younger, well, I might come along with you all, and I'd have that same glint in my eye that Floy has right now. But you can tell that he's kind of like looking, peering, like kind of like this bit of wisdom from the crinkly eyes, the crow's feet, etc. I don't know if I got that age right. I don't know if he's that old. I can't remember how old Balin is. It was in my notes somewhere. I'll look it up later. Don't yell at me.
Aurenia will pop up and just say, Erebon may be underselling that a bit. And is the room relatively cleared out? Like, is it still like, all 12 of Floyd's siblings in the room, or do we kind of have some space to ourselves?
They're coming and going. They're doing like drive-by like noogies, and they're kind of making up this guy right here. Oh, little brother did that. No, I don't think so. When he was a young one, he used to try to leap from one table to the other, but he wouldn't quite make it. He couldn't quite get the lift. And you'd see him just bang his head, and he'd run around the halls crying and crying. And the acoustics here are just phenomenal, and so everyone within the halls could hear him. Every clan and family from here to there, all the way down to Harmeld could frickin' hear him just crying away. But Mother, she had a soft spot for him, and so she would kiss his boo-boos and make him better. The rest of us, however, we got to mining at a young age. Not Floy. Floy was always special. You can see like sibling jealousy begins to rise. Yeah. As the booze begins to set in, the truth comes out.
If we have kind of a quiet moment where there aren't as many folks around,
I'm sure we can do that. That's fine.
So, in the spirit of, I guess, the theme for today of Erniel snitching, Erniel is going to, we have picked up quite a few pieces along the way, and we seem to be quite lucky in that regard. But some of the pieces, and she'll kind of nod in Floyd's direction, seem to have have effects to them beyond the obvious.
They have a taint to them, you could say.
Oh dear. That sounds ominous. I must admit, I'm quite happy to see you all in such good health. I've been having the most upsetting dreams the past few days. Of you all, in fact.
You as well?
I have. And you can hear like Femus, she's like, oh yeah, me too. I was quite worried. It's all horrible things. But he's here now, my sweet thing. And she kind of like ruffles up your beard a little bit, which is used to be very well kept, but now at this point has gotten really like messed up. I have indeed. Dwarves and elves fighting, slaughtering each other. I swore I heard the voice of the fly, in fact, and saw the swing of his axe. It's hard to say. The faces were blurred. Sounds were murky. But it was not a pleasant sight. I've had my disagreements with elves, the Mirkwood branch particularly. However, I have no desire to do the things to elves that I saw in that dream, and nor would I want done to me that what the elves did in return.
I can't even imagine I would do such a thing. I'd have to get to the lore masters and ask them.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Of course, I'm sure Jetty would enjoy a conversation with you. He was speaking how you brought back something of great value to donate to the vaults last winter. And he's also been concerned that there's been a rash of oathbreakers and bandits who have been causing some havoc. Sometimes within the halls, sometimes without. It'd be good to see a friendly face again. Someone who brings pride and honor to the halls, not these oathbreakers who... And you can see he gets kind of a sour look in his face. But that is not trouble for you all to bear. I'm sure he is handling it. Indeed, though, you have a dark look to you. And I woke up out of the dreams each time you were first in my thoughts. And then you arrive here with an elf in tow. I worry perhaps that are these dreams prophetic? But these are just the musings of an old and very drunk dwarf who is happy to see all of you. Even you, Master Elf, drinker of water.
Show him the amulet.
What are you referencing?
So it's the amulet that you have. It's of Dwarven and Elvish make.
The ruby one? Or
Yeah.
Oh, the ruby, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Twilight ruby?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you all remember what you learned from that? Actually, I probably put it in the item. Let me see.
It's in the history, yeah.
Yeah,
We
you
know
did.
it's crafted by the people of the jewel smiths.
Oh, you didn't want to go for the other pronunciation?
Absolutely not. Even though you were so nice to write it out.
Madan. The Gwaith Mirdan. Whatever.
Yes.
Something like that. It's very difficult. That's a very difficult one that I kind of give up on. But the people of the Jewelsmiths. Takes a look at it. That is a marvelous artifact indeed. What a fabulous find. Where did you find this one?
The Isles to the east.
That's right.
Yeah.
You went onto the water. You have to tell me more. And we'll say montage of the story.
Yeah. Of both of them. The first one we encountered, Floyd getting poisoned and almost dying.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Let's
right.
leave out Erebon jumping in the water and immediately sinking onto a rock. we can skip over that part.
It sounds like horrible beasts that you've had to fight. I must say, Miss Kettlegrass, you perhaps should add a second or third verse to really focus in on the heroism against these creatures. Well, I can't say that I am particularly the most qualified to comment on this, but it is quite beautiful indeed. I do know I have been, like I said, travelling to some of the lore masters and such. There is one such person you might want to consult with. However, he's a few days south, and he's a fair bit eccentric. At the same time, he was in the halls a few weeks past when I was visiting, and I do plan to stop on my way southward. Is the halls of the dwarf halls of Harmelt. There, in fact, there's a lord by the name of Majolan. But his brother is the one that you want to speak with. Hijolin. I don't know how to fucking pronounce it. It's H then J. Okay, I'm drunk. Leave me alone. Anyhow, he has
the J becomes a Y. It's a hill.
I don't listen to pronunciation advice from anyone who drinks water at a celebration. Anyhow. The lore master, like I said, he's very eccentric, but he has been, according to his brother, obsessed with the secrets of metalworking and rune scribing of the ages past, the elder days, in fact. Perhaps he might be able to lend some aid into understanding exactly what you have here, and this armor of yours, which is quite exquisite, but at the same time, I'm not going to be dishonest. It gives me an eerie feeling. But down in Harmelt, to the south, near the end, the southern tail of the Blue Mountains, perhaps a week of travel, maybe less if you hustle.
And Gilly's kind of nodding along. I would love to speak to every lore master that we could.
Well, I'm sure. Well, most of them would be, I think, open to speaking with you. As I said, this he's a peculiar one, indeed. He is obsessed with these things, and his brother explained how he would disappear for weeks at a time, returning in the dead of night, locks himself in the recesses of their halls, old dusty libraries with his tomes and books and things, and I would imagine he would be interested in seeing the finds that you've brought. There's some very fascinating rune carving that you see on that armor of yours. Perhaps he could lend some advice on exactly, or history, lore, in fact, more specific than what you might have already.
And then that's when Gilly is, because we're talking about armor, and she remembers that bizarre armor that we came across when we found like the knife and stuff. She wants to ask him about that and be like, do you recognize the make or the origins?
I assume you probably sketched it knowing Gilly.
Yeah.
Sorry, just switching up the music a little bit here and there. I love the dwarf music, but it always sounds like we're about to get in a really serious fight.
It does, yeah.
You're not going to. Let me roll a little check for him. See if he would know anything. I'm afraid I am unfamiliar with this. I can rule out places, of course. It certainly doesn't look like anything I would recognise out of the Bree lands or from Dale. Nothing like that at all. Elves of Mirkwood do not dress in such a style. Nor do the odd folk down in Tharbad, but there are some unsavoury folk in that city who might be able to lend aid. But I'm afraid now I'm unfamiliar. Sorry, that's Shire music. That's Coombe music. I gotta get rid of it. That's for Coombe. Do something else. Okay, let's do
thank you.
Keepers. Of course.
Reniel would speak up and kind of share a bit about the dagger.
Oh, okay. The one that you just that we
lost. Yeah.
Okay. Oh dear. Okay. He does not know what it is. As 11 is for actually wait. Yeah, 11's bad. I guess it would be bad for him. Normally 11's bad for me, but I'm rolling with a good guy, so 11 is bad for him. Yeah. It's inverted for the lore master.
Because I'll describe how it, immediately just death came to plant life that it landed on in the ground. And
I cannot say that I am. I've never seen such a thing. I will. It will be on the top of my conversational topics with my wizard friend once I do wrangle him. Perhaps even Bilbo might have an idea. Clearly, there's some sort of poison. You said. I would imagine. It seems more like perhaps elvish situation. Master Elf, were you unable to determine the nature of the poison? Master Elf. Master Elf.
Sorry.
Master Elf.
He's drunk on water.
I didn't realise you get drunk on water. And as I was like, oh, I've not been giving him water, just really watered down ale.
I couldn't find my mute button. What was the question again? I got distracted.
He said,
to figure out the poison on the dagger.
You couldn't figure out the poison. Isn't elvish medicine far superior to that of the rest of ours?
Unfortunately, I am not versed in elvish medicine.
Yeah, generally I tend to be our healer. But there was an elf and she sustained injuries and they were taking her down to the Grey Haven.
You didn't accompany one of your own, Master Elf?
No. My place was here with the group.
Our concerns with the nightmares took precedence. But I do ask when you travel down there if you would check in with her.
What is the elf's name?
She was too sick. We couldn't get her name from her.
You got a name.
Her name was Mendir.
Oh, I don't know why I thought that was somebody else. So she'll say Mendir. Or Erebon corrects me. And
when I inquire about Mendir, Master Elf, should I do so without mentioning your name as well?
It may be better that way.
Are you a criminal of some kind? We have outcasts and such.
I'm just
amongst our
rather
dwarven
antisocial.
ranks. I can see that. Yes, I can see that indeed. Okay. Well then, I think we have drinking your poor mother dry. No, I've got plenty. Okay. So, anything else you want to talk to him about? I'm trying to see if he's got anything else.
I think
Gandalf,
we've shared the
Bilbo,
highlights.
summer stuff, old dwarf
With him.
mines, King Dane of Ironfoot. King Dane Ironfoot. Okay. Yeah,
I
he
was
hit everything.
expecting to run into him today, so I didn't have questions prepared.
I felt like we haven't talked to him in a while, and it felt like it made sense. We're going to dwarf areas, so let's talk to dwarves.
Yeah. So the mines, is this would we get to traverse the interior of these mountains to reach the mines, or are we back out into the storms and rain inside?
Well, from what I understand, it is far to the north, and along the way there are certainly some colonies of dwarfs that still make up the mountains, mining here, there. The Blue Mountains are not as rich as they once were. Many have also left and returned to Erebor, as I have, in many of my kin. However, it would probably depend upon the quality of some of the passageways and such. But certainly some of your travels, I would imagine, would be above ground. And when I say far to the north, I do mean it. I've heard almost as far as the ice bay of Foreshell itself. Now, it is springtime, going into summer. I would imagine if there is ever a season to travel such far distances to the ice bay, it would be these. But I have never made a trek so far north. I have traversed the mountains in my younger days, but I can't say that I am a tracker or a cartographer of any sort. But I'm sure Floyd could handle it. Yes, this is his backyard, such as the folks in Bree might say.
Would it be wise to pack snowshoes?
I've heard they can be very useful. Multi-purpose.
We have, while the purpose of our journeys has provided us with quite a many frights, we have been able to see things that we otherwise might not have. And those are small beauties to appreciate along the way.
There are many beautiful and frightening things across our lands, beneath our mountains, in our forests, and over our plains. I agree, it is a joy to see them. Some of them I would prefer to see at a much greater distance than others. So
Master Dwarf.
Yes, of
Sorry,
course.
continue.
No, go right ahead, Mr. Elf.
Earlier you mentioned oathbreakers. If it's not too forward of me, I would inquire what oath was broken.
Oh, well, from what I understand, there are a group of dwarven miners who are tasked with tidying up a mine along the mountains. They were tasked with working deeper, and they went a little further than they were instructed to, and when they were chastised for such a thing, they absconded, and they seem to have left their post, so to speak. I have heard that they are not happy. He kind of looks carefully, makes sure none of the brothers are in the room or him, and he kind of leans in. There are a few families and clans up and down the mountains here that are unfortunately hurting. As I said, the mountains have been mined quite heavily. Finding value is becoming increasingly more difficult, which is causing some families to take extreme measures. Others leave, return to arable. Others stay out of stubbornness, family dedication. And I think a few have turned to more questionable tactics for accumulating wealth. Was that Eddie? Thank you so much for the sub and the gift sub. Right on. So anyway, that's what he says. It's not easy to talk about him for a while.
Yeah.
You need water.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I am going to have to buy some lozenges. I'm curious, what do you all plan to do from here?
We'll speak to Jetty at the vault for a bit, but to the north and the mines sound quite attractive.
Ah, I see. If that's the case, then I regret we will be parting company sooner rather than later again, it seems.
Yeah, I do think maybe we should plan something out, but we'll think on it in the morning.
I see. Of course.
Our top priority at this point was to try to discover kind of what seems to have been ailing Floy of late.
Well, I can't necessarily, I can't suggest that there will be anything to the north. It is a pure treasure hunt, of course. Might there be something in the possessions of your kin? And he looks at everything and he says that this king of old, maybe, but is purely guessing, of course. I would say that if you are indeed concerned with Floyd's situation and learning more about what has, and he's like trying to choose his words really delicately so as not to offend Floyd. What more information you can get about his new treasures? Well, then I think Lawmaster Hedjolan down in the dwarf halls of Harmilt is a fairly good lead if you could get him to speak directly, that is.
Are there things that he finds valuable to him that might make him more likely to share his knowledge?
Well, he is very interested in a few things, most notably rune carving, as I've mentioned. But I've heard from his brother that he does have a fondness for stories about dragons. Now, I went ahead and I tried to provide such a story about our dealings with Smog. And that earned me at least a few minutes, but I didn't have any pointed questions for the eccentric Hedjolan. My business was of a different sort. But perhaps you might be able to find something from Jetty or some of the other lawmasters here that might serve you in your attempts to win over Master Hedjolan.
Excellent. Sure. Trade a story for a story and information.
Indeed. I should warn you, however, though, he is a very, as I mentioned, eccentric, but very intelligent. There is a fine line, of course, between genius and madness. He walks it very perilously. I also would think that most stories you might find, he might already know. He is that well informed. But perhaps there is other things that you might be able to provide. as I said, the family is a bit, well, their resources and their are running thin, and I know that it weighs heavily on all of the brothers' heads. Opportunities for, industry, wealth of some kind, something for the family to once again be known for. Their minds drying up has hurt them. You will see, Floy, if you visit. Their walls are thin. You'll see. I also should mention, none of this is for public consumption. I share this with you in confidence. I have no desire to harm the reputation of the Dwarves of Harmeld.
Understood.
Irenaeus will kind of pass him another ale and just say, you've provided us with so much information. It really seems like perhaps it might be time for us to take our leave.
Yes, I think... Oh, jeez, do I take this last one or not?
It'll help you sleep.
You've convinced me. And he just... whoosh, and he starts downing it. And we're at time, as Stephen and I have a double header later. So I think we're going to end there. I think that's what we're going to do. And so is your intention then to go? So basically, it's like literally either you go to the south end of the mountains or the north end of the mountains. And it's kind of up to you. The south will perhaps give you information about Floy. The north will perhaps give you something to do with Angmar and the treasures that Lottie is collecting, that kind of stuff. So those are your options.
It seems like going north is risky, not having more information about Floyd's current condition. Like maybe we go south first and try
Fine,
to
guys, I can handle it.
You feel like you can.
I'm willing to roll the dice on Floyd dying and go north if that's what you guys want.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
I kind of want to
deciding
see
right now
what happens when we talk to the treasure guy.
Yeah, the lore master.
Yeah, the lore master.
Oh, the treasure here? Or
No,
the
the treasure here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this
Got it.
guy, and see what we learn, and then go from there.
That sounds good to me.
Chat has caught on that Jeff would like to know what to prep for next session.
Listen, here's the
after
funny
going
thing.
to the treasure guy.
Here's
Gillies,
the thing.
voting
Who are you
south.
talking to right now? You guys know me.
For both, and we'll do neither.
I got both of them prepped and something else as well. Like
Yeah.
I over prep One Ring. Are you kidding?
Renniel's vote is
Crazy.
south.
My heart prep is basically a stick figure and a stain on a piece of paper, but this I prep like crazy. Yeah.
Erebon, what's your vote?
As a player, I'd like to go north, but Erebon would go wherever the group decides. I'm fine going south.
Okay.
How much of a grumpy Floy are we going to get if we go
Yeah,
south?
what I'm
For your own
thinking is
good,
like
Floy.
we have a big old argument, and then we see where we go from there.
Roll for
Take the medicine, Floy.
I like the fact that we started out the session discussing Erebon's nicknames, and he just got a new nickname.
What
It's
was his
Erebon,
which one
drinker
was
of
that?
water.
Drinker of water. Yeah.
Drinker of water.
Drinker of water.
I'll
That
add it to the
tall
list.
drink of water. Oh, goodness. Okay. I think we're all done then. And again, you all can think about it. Like I have plenty prep either way. So if you want to pull a fast one, that's fine. Just kill your characters and we'll start up somewhere else. Yeah, what else we got going? So later on tonight, in about 2 hours, you can catch Steven and I over on Grim and Perilous Plays, playing some Heart with our friends from Grim and Perilous and our friends from DOK. Let's see. Tomorrow night, Steven, it's we got Shadowrun tomorrow night, right?
Shadowrun. Yep.
Yeah, over on Steam Still Murder. And then Monday, we should be back on this channel playing Holler for Savage Worlds. It's a Holler night. Next Friday is Mothership, but sans Steven, I think.
Sorry, guys.
As Steven cares more about his marriage than us, which I don't understand. But that's
Your
fine.
constant
she pays
threats
my
of
bills.
divorce are different.
See? Now I see your angle. She pays
Yeah.
your bills. Okay. Yeah. So that's what we got going on. And also go check out the YouTube channel, Adventures in Lollygagging over on YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed to that, do so. We got tons of stuff up there, including stuff that I've forgotten about. We've been putting a lot of stuff up there. There's a lot of things. But also I've been plugging our Hunter game because it's one of our Friday games, our Mothership game. They're both brand new. They both started in the last couple of weeks. So you can kind of get in on the ground floor of those as they're going for a little while. But that's about it. So we'll go ahead and raid someone. Looks like Boys from the Baltic Star, I think, is who is on my friends list right now that's showing up. If there's anybody else, you're not showing up, so sorry. Thanks for everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you for those of you who threw out some subs and such. Thank you for the raid, and we'll catch you later. So bye-bye.